Hello Mallards, it is Monday, and for the first time in a while, I don't have anything pressing that I need to be doing today, and that's really nice. And I'm also not sick, so that's also a double bonus. I can relax and not be sick, which means that I've made the only logical choice one could make in this situation, and that is that I'm gonna watch all the episodes of Secret Invasion because I haven't watched them yet. And I'm gonna make a video about each one, and then I'll save these videos for some of my less exciting days coming up this week. So expect some Secret Invasion content. Starting with episode 2, I've gone back to my classic, I just took notes as I was watching the episode, and you get to hear my thoughts back. If you haven't watched the episode, these thoughts probably won't make any sense to you because I'm not necessarily explaining the plot or talking in depth about things. I'm just sort of live tweeting, but here on this YouTube channel, this is my reaction to episode 2 of Secret Invasion. My first thing was that I love the Captain Marvel flashback. I really felt like we needed some context here after the first episode, and that there was something I was clearly missing. And I thought maybe, did I not pay enough attention in Captain Marvel because I've only seen that movie twice as compared to some of the other films? Because everybody knows that my MCU hierarchy is very much based on the amount of Bucky Barnes you have, and Captain Marvel doesn't have any, so it's pretty low on the ranking list. But it turns out that it wasn't just all Captain Marvel, because we are getting some other information about things that happened a few years after that. That will really explain how we ended up here. And that is that Fury just made the decision to recruit a bunch of Skrulls to help them fight a threat? What threat? I'm not sure. Aliens in general? Because they knew Kree existed now and they were worried Kree were coming from them. That remains to be seen. Maybe we'll learn something about that. But he was essentially yeah, stay here and pretend to be human and I'll help you find a planet if you help us protect our planet. And I don't know how Nicholas Fury, who is supposed to be super brilliant tactician, really smart guy, wasn't oh wow, just asking a bunch of Skrull to be here and pretend to be human the whole time will have no negative repercussions. It's not like I started Secret Invasion and now I'm upset that it exists, but that really is how it feels. Also, this is the graphic action we needed. You know, we really needed to know how this kid came to be. And now we know. And the answer is that Fury promised, if you help us, I will help you find a homeworld. And I have a sneaking suspicion that Fury probably broke his word. And in fact, later in the episode, graphics says just that. He made us a promise and then he broke his promise, which leads me to what I believe is the clear lesson of this particular show. And that is never ever break a promise to a child. It will come back to haunt you. And if we're being honest, that will work out with a lot of the MCU. Just don't break promises to children and things will be a lot better. Which doesn't necessarily mean that you need to keep wild promises. It's just a lesson to stop making promises you can't deliver on, because kids remember and then they grow up into adults, and if you're in any sort of fiction or maybe even in the real world, they turn into angry adults who are upset about broken promises, and it never works out well. So keep your promises to children, okay? That's it. That's the lesson. Anyway, we can continue on with the notes. My next note says, I was really trying to forget that they fridged Hill. But I did enjoy Fury's backstory and the talking on the train. But it was hilarious when Talos was like, yeah, all of the Skrulls are here. And Fury was like, what? And I was like, dude, honestly, how did you not figure this out before? You literally gave them the recipe book on how to just be on Earth. I don't know. I just don't know. And Talos has a point about all of it. Fury was just being dumb. And then they deliver Hill's body to her mom. And I wrote, this is me, still pissed AF about Hill. which I am, I'm just as mad as her mother. Like, what is this ridiculousness? And then her mother, like, gives Fury this speech about, like, how he needs to carry on. And I was like, oh, I cannot believe you killed Maria Hill for motivation. Anyway, I'm going to be bitter for a while, and you guys just have to deal with that. And then we met the council. And I said, of course, Skrulls are world leaders, because you get 1 million people together that actually agree about something, and they can literally take over the world. On an unrelated note, does anybody want to join my cult? It's just something I've been thinking about lately. I'm going to call it the Church of Dionysus, and we are going to worship through theater. And I think I could get recognized as a religious organization. And if we can get 1 million of us, we can probably take over the world. So just think about that for a minute. And then really Gravik illustrated my point by telling the one woman who was like, I will not follow you because this is not right, and I stand up for my convictions, that if he had another 100 like her, he could take over the universe. And that seems accurate. Wow, integrity, guys. Who knew? Sticking to your guns and having a firm belief in things can really drive you. I mean, we all know that. Unfortunately, the people with the firmest beliefs tend to be the people with not great ones. Because part of being firm in your belief is not listening to any outside opinions. And the people who have empathy and listen to outside opinions tend to be a little less firm in their beliefs. Great for progress, not so good for building a cult of people to take over the world. Then I wrote, I have no idea what the science people are doing at all. Should I know what the science people are doing? Should anything in that science sequence have made sense to me? Because it didn't, and I do not know what they're up to. But I did like that they have some Collapsidian and Groot DNA, I guess. And then I wrote, Rhodey, why are you here? And the answer is because your contract allowed for you to be in a television show. But, man, why are you sticking so hard on this government line? Sometimes, Rhodey. Just sometimes. Sometimes I wonder how you and Tony Stark could have been such good friends when you have this, like, loyalty to law. They're really the wildest D&D party. This, like, lawful good Rhodey and a chaotic neutral Tony Stark. And somehow it works. And then Rhodey says something that other people said earlier, which is, we should call my friends, which is also at the Skrulls thing. They were like, what happens if the Avengers come back? And listen, guys, I don't think you have to worry about it. They have pretty ironclad contracts that talk about the number of things that they're allowed to be in, and this wasn't on the list, so you're probably safe from the Avengers. So don't worry about that. Everyone needs to stop asking about it. And then Rhodey fires Fury. And I wrote, I mean, Rhodey is wrong, but also Fury sort of deserves it. He's just made a series of bad decisions lately. And I can't say that he shouldn't be fired. I just think that Rhodey is going to regret not giving him help. Especially since Rhodey knows about Skrulls. Apparently the US government does know. I figured they did, but it is fun that Rhodey knew and hasn't said a thing to anyone this whole time. Maybe he said something to Tony and we just will never know because now Tony's dead. That would be intriguing. I'd love to find out later that he knew. Maybe all the Avengers know and they just like have been really quiet about it. I don't know. An intriguing premise. And I guess we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. And then we got to see Gravik's serious knife skills as he fought through a bunch of mobsters. And the woman whose name I cannot remember right now being totally vicious to poor Brogan, who did not deserve the end that he received. He did not stand a chance. And then my last note just says, Fury has a wife? A Skrull wife? Wow, what a way to end the episode. The idea that Nick Fury could be married? Insane. To a scroll makes a little bit more sense than to a human, though, if we're being honest with ourselves. So yeah, that was episode 2. Those are my wild thoughts. This video will be unedited because that's the way I roll with these. Hope you enjoy it. I'm going to record more of these today, and you will get to watch them over various days in the next indeterminate amount of time as I post them. I'll see you tomorrow.